So when I got into firearms, the one thing that I noticed was, the lack of high quality firearm videos on the internet. Now that has since changed in the last couple of years. I have been doing YouTube for like 4 years now. Wow, can you believe it? It's crazy. So anyway, we made some upgrades to the gear. So first of all, I shoot predominantly on this Canon R5 camera. Now, actually, lol, I'm shooting on the R5 on that camera that you're on. This is my sort of B camera, and on here I've got a 100 to 400 millimeter Canon RF lens, and I've just picked this up, and that's going to be able to, crank us in on the zoom when we go hunting and doing stuff like that, and also provide us some nice crystal clear long range shots. It's always cool to film through the spotting scope, but it really does leave quite a bit to be desired. So I've got that lens to capture those long range impacts. Then on this camera at the moment, it is stabilized on a gimbal. Now it's not just any gimbal. This gimbal will also give me remote control over that zoom lens. So when I put that camera on this setup, this is the setup by the way, back here it is the Canon, good lord, it is the DJI RS3 combo, because it's got the motor with that I control the zoom or the focus or however we do decide to do it. So I just put the gimbal down on a super sketchy position, so let's hope it stays there. Anyway, so that's sort of the upgrades we've made. Now, speaking of upgrades, as you guys know, I recently moved the business out of the house. Now, my business used to run out of my garage essentially, so let's head there now. I hope this lens does a good job of tracking where we are going. So, oops, their vacuum just fired up upstairs, so let's close this door because it's gonna help a lot. Stand by. Much better. Now, as you guys know, I used to run Impact Pro Shop out of this garage. It used to be filled with shelving and all sorts of products behind me, MDT stuff to the freaking wall. Now we've actually moved into an industrial building, which is super exciting. And by the way, guys, we're not quite ready for us to receive walk-in customers. I know a few of you have walked in there, but it's not quite there yet. We will be doing a full launch and everything once we are ready to do that. So it effectively gave me quite a bit of space back at my home office, essentially, because we have specifically chosen this house due to the layout of having sort of me working downstairs and then having us live upstairs. Now, in the past, as I said, that was completely filled with products and really off limits for me to be creative with. But now it effectively leaves me with two angles. Obviously, we've got a pram and all sorts of stuff just temporarily stored there. Not running at the moment, obviously, because I had surgery on my foot, if you missed that. But it gives me an option to either set up another angle like this. Obviously, the sound's going to be terrible. I am using a proper microphone on this camera at the moment. But I mean, it's an empty, big, large space, so it's probably going to echo a little bit. So I could effectively do a sort of similar angle like we did on our old channel. And then on that side where that desk is at, I could have sort of another workbench space, if you will, perhaps do some reloading videos. And also for myself, sort of build out, just the tool room a little bit, because I've always wanted to get more sort of woodworking tools and those sort of things, because I love being handy, I love being hands-on. I was trapped behind a computer screen in my previous life for 10 years. And it wasn't awesome. So now I get to be creative and I get to be hands-on with stuff, and I love doing that. So that's kind of what I had in mind to do with this space. We've got the Dylan over here, and we have the 3D printer over that side for some of the prototyping stuff we're doing. But I think this space, if I did a little bit of color there and I get my brother to come and help me, could be a really, really nice little space for us to just be a little bit more creative and have more space. Because something that you perhaps don't see in our other room is just how tight it is. So the new gun that I bought is a Beretta Silver Pigeon 3 with the 30-inch barrel. I'm super pumped for the shotgun. Now, if you're not familiar with the Silver Pigeons, they're an over-under shotgun. And I've always wanted one of these. For one of the very first outings I had shooting as an adult, I shot a Silver Pigeon. And I absolutely loved it, and I did relatively well in that clay shooting competition, having not done any sort of clay pigeon shooting for the longest time. I also love wing shooting, and I want to sort of make the channel more diverse and bring you guys sort of that type of content too. In fact, next month I'm heading hunting, and we're planning to do quite a bit of wing shooting on that hunt, so I'm super pumped about that. Now, while I was at the store picking up the paperwork, I asked the sales guy, if they've got any primers, because as you guys know, there's a massive shortage internationally of, reloading components. And he said, Pete, we've got CCI 450 small rifle magnum primers, which is like the go-to primer for small rifle primers. It depends obviously who you ask. When it was quite funny, Skulk and I always talk about this. When we only had CCI a few years ago, when I started shooting, everybody was saying the Federals are crap. And when we only had Federals, everybody was saying the CCIs are crap. So it is, yeah, it's funny how it fluctuates. But anyway, I managed to get some small rifle primers to sort of future-proof the channel from a primer point of view for the next little while. So I picked up some of that. Now I've also made some changes to, got quite a lot of primers. Made some changes to my auto trickler. As you guys know, I'm a big fan, massive fan of not wasting any time. And one of the ways I do that is in my reloading process, I've implemented the use of an auto trickler. Now the auto trickler is basically genade is our Afrikaans word of the day, which is probably like saying, oh my gosh. Anyway, so I've added the clear lid on the V3 auto trickler. I am still on the V3. I know the V4s have started shipping. Perhaps we'll get one of those, but I mean, the V3 is plenty capable for what I need. But the clear lid basically just allows me to see through the top, see if there's any funny business happening there. And yeah, it just looks cool. It's a nice little upgrade, and I'm also running these this dust cover that Skulk got from me, because otherwise, even though this is like a contained room, it's amazing how like over the course of a week or two, there'll just be dust on everything. So yeah, that looks a little bit more clean. It looks clean, it stays clean. So anyway, now while this room is freaking awesome and I have kitted it out to essentially one of the most ultimate reloading rooms you could have, it is still a very tight space. I have to use very specific lenses in order to make this room work for me. So that's sort of what we have going on here. Lots of things to wrestle with in terms of which direction I want to take this in. But yeah, it's exciting. I love building new spaces, and sometimes for me as a creative person, and perhaps you can relate to this in your own business, is oftentimes something can get a little bit stale and you need that next challenge to, you know, get those creative enzymes and things going. And I find the same thing with shooting. Lately, I've really enjoyed shooting the sort of longer range matches. And those are a lot of fun, and that really gets me pumped to learn a new aspect of shooting and then apply that to some of the other things I'm doing. Let me know if you guys have some ideas for the new spaces. One of the things that I'm really challenged of doing in here, and that was always a limitation, is I want to get the fully automated Dillon setup, you know, the case feeder and everything, because those things take up a tremendous amount of space and they're quite an eyesore. It's going to look out of place in this room. So that's something that I potentially want to look at setting up. I've also got a really cool idea for a video on case lube, which I was discussing with one of you guys in the comments lately. Due to the video we made quite recently, I said that after I run the mandrel through, I don't bother taking the lube out of the neck. So I'm going to do a little bit of a scientific test there for us, shoot a couple of groups, and let's see if we have a clear answer as to if that's going to be a negative or not. But anyway, I just thought I'd update you guys on the space. If you're concerned at all about my leg, kind of doing all right, can't do much. But it is what it is. It's definitely getting better by the day, and I'm super grateful for that. I appreciate you guys so much. We have some hunts coming up very soon. Hopefully a hunt in America if the cards fall into place this year. So I'm super pumped on that. I've always wanted to hunt an elk, and we are potentially setting that up. So that would be ultra sweet. Also some news. As you guys know, a bunch of my rifles got seized by the police almost a year ago already, due to the importer being, I don't want to get into it, but hopefully soon we will get those back. And as soon as I have them back, it's going to open up so many possibilities for creating content, because I have so many things that I want to show you guys and take you out to the range and, you know, do proper shooting with the H&T 26, the new J. Allen, the ACC Elite. All of those things are here, but I don't have any rifles that actually fit in them. So hopefully very soon we can start cranking those out, and I'm super pumped about that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Remember, head on over to mdttac.com if you want to kit out your precision rifle or your long range rifle or your hunting rifle, or you need a magazine or little Picatinny rails or anything of that sort. mdttac.com have you covered. If you're buying MDT stuff and you live in America, please shop the links in our description below. Full disclosure, we do get a little bit of affiliate commission on that, and it does go a long way to making the YouTube thing work, because YouTube's not great with pushing out our gun channel content to you guys. So also make sure you have the notification bell ticked and all of those lovely things. And I'll see you guys in the next video, where hopefully we're out at the range. Bye.